Good morning, students. Today we finished the last lesson, lesson 4, on forests and the conservation of the forest. And of course, the last portion, the last section is all about how, as a community, as people belonging to one village or one particular community, can really restore a forest or restore a natural nature to its original state. Okay, now the last section of this lesson 4 is the community initiative towards forest conservation. So how a community can work together in order to re-establish the forests. Now, in the previous sections, we have already studied that how forests have been depleted, how they have been destroyed. No, the main reason for the destruction of the forest, as we know, is that we depend too much upon money making, the profit making, in such a way that we completely forget about our future generation. Okay, if we are not going to act now, then after some 50 years or 100 years, our future generation will never ever be able to live peacefully on this earth, and therefore it is our duty, it is our responsibility that we have to act now. Now you are all studying about the natural vegetation. You are all studying about the forest, the importance of forest, and how it tries to keep up the ecosystem. And therefore, it's not only just to read, study, and then pass the exams with good marks. No, our aim here is not simply to pass the exam. Our aim here is to learn something about the importance of nature. And when we grow up, we don't have to just act as the way our ancestors were doing. Ancestors means I'm not talking about ancestors of 50 years or 100 years ago, but ancestors of just uh, 10 years, elders, so not everything can be bought by money. Once we lose the nature, that's all, we lost it, we cannot bring it by money. Okay, so it is our responsibility, it is our duty to preserve the nature, to conserve the nature. And in this section we will study about two examples from two different villages, and how those villages they came together, and then how they tried to re-establish the forests that were deforested a few years ago. Okay, now I will read through those witnesses, those examples, so that you will have an idea, okay, as to how you, after growing up, can follow the same method and can once again re-establish the forest, re-establish the ecosystem around your village. Okay, once again, the section name is Community Initiative for Forest Conservation. So, as I already told you, what is the meaning of community initiative? Which means each one of us, we initiate, we begin on our own without any external impulse, without anyone commanding over us. That's what we call as initiative. Okay, how as a community, which means community is not only caste, you should remember. So even people who are living together, now let us say in a street, in the villages, I don't know how you live in your villages. Okay, so usually in the town setup or in the cities and so on, there are different streets we have. So street means people, they live together, streets. Okay, so they live together, and no, we can call that one street as one community. Now, which means people can look into the needs of each other, and people can help each other. So the main aim of the community is that they support each other, they help each other. So here, what community initiative means, people who are living in the villages, okay, the whole village can be one community, irrespective of our caste, irrespective of our religion, and so on. So we form part of one village, one community. Therefore, everyone should take responsibility to take care of what is around us. Okay, so here we are given two examples. The first example is how Damodar, he was educated tribal. He studied, and then he comes back to his village, and then he looks at the condition of his village. Almost the forests surrounding his village are destroyed. The trees have been cut off. Okay, people start digging the roots in order to make use of them for their fuel. Okay, to cook rice and so on. And therefore, whatever he takes some measure. Okay, he actively involves in politics. He contests the election. Okay, and he selected a sarpanch, and after becoming a sarpanch, how he changes the very face of his village. Okay, once again, how he is trying to re-establish the forest around his village, and how that really helps him to breathe the fresh air. Okay, to make everything more fresh, beautiful. Okay, right now we will read the lesson. Sant Karmari, it's a village on the Odisha border. Odisha, you all know, located about 45 kilometers from Jagdalpur. So Jagdalpur, you know, it's a district, and in that district we find Sant Karmari, a village. So the forest of sal. So here we have sal forest of sal, and other trees are dotted with a paddy field. What's the meaning of dotted with paddy field? So in the forest there are so many paddy fields you have. So if you want to have paddy field in the forest, what you usually do? You cut off the trees, and then you till the land. You remove all the roots of the ancient trees, old trees. Then you till the land. So what happens? Slowly you are encroaching the forest. And then you make up your own agricultural land. Now in a local surrounding, around the month of October, November and December, we have the presence of wild elephants. Did you ever ask yourself why we have wild elephants in our surrounding area? It is a fact that we are actually encroaching their land. It's not that wild elephants are coming into our village. No, actually our village has actually captured their home, their land. So when they have nowhere else to go, what they do? They come into our village only. Okay, so that is the main thing. When we keep on destroying the forest, and whatever beings that were in the forest, when they find no home, then naturally they will try to come back to their house, and they will be surprised to see that their house have been destroyed. It has been changed. It has been captured. Okay, so that is the main reason why we get lot of elephants here. Not that we get, but they come back to their home, which is destroyed. Okay, right now here the same thing happens. Now when we destroy the forest and make up so many paddy fields, then what happens? We cut down the trees. Okay, and then when we cut the trees, and then when we try to sell those branches, those stumps and so on, and when we get to know how valuable they are, when we get money for each and every branches we sell, then what happens? Now we are simply controlled by the greed. We are controlled by the desire to make money, and then that Nishtar right. No, you all have studied about the Nishtar right. The previous section we studied. Okay, so it's a right given to all the tribals to to make use of the forest produce for their own personal consumption. Okay, so we misuse this Nishtar right. Okay, right now we will study about this one. So here in that village, forest of sal is found, and then Karunti river marks almost the entire state border, but in some areas burns demarcate the border. Okay, so almost that river, Karunti river, is actually it marks the border of the state of Chhattisgarh. So it is this river that divides Chhattisgarh from Odisha. Okay, the settlements of the 8 to 10 communities. So 8 to 10 communities means, see, even within the tribal group there are different communities. Okay, so you know it better than I do. Okay, I have not been really exposed to the tribal communities the first time, but you know about your communities. Okay, so in that particular village or the surrounding villages, okay, there are settlements of some 8 to 10 communities of the village. Okay, now they are dispersed, means they are spread everywhere. Even though the paddy fields are extensive means there are vast number of paddy fields we find. They are extensive. There are also forests within the village boundary that are crisscrossed by nullas, no rivulets. Okay, which means there are, even though we have so much paddy field, okay, but still there were so many forests around the village. Okay, here and there. No, forest means no large tract of land filled with no biodiversity. No, so many kinds of plants and trees we have. Okay, so we find that there no that village is full of forests. No, in the surrounding area. No, even the village borders we have forests. Okay, right. Now, if you approach the village from any side, no, if you approach the village from any side, from left, right, or north, south, east, or west, from whichever direction you approach the village, you have to actually cross through the forest. Okay, so you cross paddy fields dotted with the mahua trees. Okay, so paddy fields, we find so many trees here, mahua trees, which give the landscape a distinctive character, a very beautiful, different character. Okay, there are also scores of toddy palms that are tapped every morning by toddy vendors. So, you know, the palm tree. Okay, so we extract toddy, you know, from the palm, and then every morning people go and then extract toddy from the palm trees. Okay, then again another thing, important thing that we find in that village, Sant Karmari village, is the monsoon season. Okay, the monsoon, usually the whole of Chhattisgarh is profited by the monsoon season. Okay, so you know about the monsoon season. We already studied in the lesson 3, the previous lesson. Okay, please revise it if you have forgotten about it. Now, in the monsoon season, we get so much of rain, and therefore this river, this particular village has got so many small ponds, lakes, and no rivulets. So what happens when we have so much of inflow of water? We have fish, so it becomes a fishing season. So all the monsoon season becomes also a season for fishing. Okay, with the nullas abounding with fish. Okay, from farm produce such as just a minute. So after the monsoon season, because of the wetness, so we find these the growth of these important plants. Okay, so all these are Hindi names, or I don't know which language. They are not English. So you know about them. Probably you know about them. Okay, right. So they constitute the important part of the monsoon diet. Okay. Now, bodha and mushrooms found under the salt trees are also popular seasonal food. Now, usually, during the rainy season, we get so much of mushroom. No, so here we get fresh mushroom. So in our place and all in Tamil Nadu, in my in my town, it is very rare to see the mushroom. Okay, so we also get mushroom, but we get from the supermarket, and they are not very fresh. Okay, but here you just go there, and then you just see the mushroom blooming, you take and you cook, you eat. They are very healthy. Okay, right. So people eat as many as 5 varieties of yam across the various seasons. So varieties of things that you have in your forest. Okay, right. Now how come this particular village is blessed with these kinds of things? Now we are entering into the story of how this village is blessed with these kinds of richness. Okay, now it all began from Mr. Damodar. Okay, the Sarpanch of Sant Karmari village. Okay, right. Now Sant Karmari village was surrounded by barren land 35 years back. So before um, Damodar became Sarpanch, almost for 35 years, this particular village, Sant Karmari village, was surrounded by barren land. Okay, why it became a barren land? The credit for its transformed landscape today goes to Damodar, who was Sarpanch for 35 years until 2009. Okay, right. Now it was he who transformed the barren land of his village into something beautiful. He restored the forest. Okay, how he did? All right, we'll just read the small history of how he was dealing with. Okay, so when he returned to the village after completing his studies at Jagdalpur, so he was studying in Jagdalpur, and after completing his studies, he comes back to his village. Okay, where he was living in a hostel. So in Jagdalpur he was living in a hostel. Okay, now here Damodar found that all the trees had been cut and people were digging roots to burn as fuel in their homes. After coming back to his village, he found that all the trees have been cut. The forests have been, and all the forests have been depleted. The Nistarite have been misused by their own people, their own villagers who are supposed to take care of the forest. The guardians of the forest, the tribals should take care of the forest. Okay, right now. So what happened? Now he found that all the trees have been cut and people were digging roots to burn as fuel in their homes. Wherever he went, he found only stumps of trees remaining. The people had the Nista rights to the forest, but they sold everything for their own subsistence. For money making, people simply they misuse. He himself says people had the Nista rights to the forest, but they sold everything for their own subsistence, for the profit making. Okay, then what he does? So Tamodar was upset. He was very angry. He was really sad also. Okay, so what he did? He decided to do something to resolve the problem. To resolve that problem of barren land, of the destruction of the forest, he did something. What he did? He contested the election for Sarpanch in the year 1976 and 77. Okay, then what happened? He won the election, fortunately. So, after winning the election, his first priority as a Sarpanch was to appoint a few people to protect the forest. Now, the first thing that he did soon after winning the election, was to appoint some people, a group of people, a committee in the village, to restore the forest, to protect the forest. Okay, now what happened? Now to restore a forest, to protect the forest, we need fund, we need money. So what happened? The villagers, he encouraged all the villagers. He taught them about the importance of forest. He taught them about the importance of nature. He taught them about their own important duty towards the forest. Okay, that they should contribute. Okay, so what happened? So people contributed food grain in proportion to the land they want to create a village fund. Okay, so as people they cultivate, depending on the amount of land that they have, they some gave money and some gave food grains. Those can be converted into money and so on. So that's how the village fund was flooding with money. Then what happened after some years? Okay, the degraded Nista forest were regenerated. Now they have got a fund. Now people know the importance of the forest. People came to know about their own personal responsibility, okay, their duty towards the forest. And what happened? That degraded Nista forest, now they became regenerated. Once again, they were restored. The forest was restored to its original beauty. Okay, now it's called as Badla Court. Okay, now it's a planted forest now. Okay, first grazing. So how they did this was, the first one they said, after planting the trees there, okay, they said the grazing in the forest was prohibited. So no one can bring their cattle to the forest for the grazing. Okay, so that was prohibited. Okay, then what he did, Damodar got seeds from the forest department. Now you see, all should know, the forest department, they have got all kinds of seeds, they have got all kinds of saplings. Okay, now they should give them for free. That is our right. Okay, so the government is supposed to give the seeds, they are supposed to give the saplings for free. Okay, right, now Damodar knows about it because he is an educated person. Okay, and therefore he got the seeds from the forest department and he planted mangoes, chironji, mahua, bija, sal, satwari, jamun, amla, so mixed forest. These kinds of all these kinds of saplings he got, the seeds he got, and then he began planting them around the villages wherever the forests were once upon a time. So what happened? The 215 acres of forest today stand as a proof of what people can do on their own. Now they have a forest. They have restored the forest around their village. Okay. Now these 215 acres of forest, okay, they stand as an example of what people can do on their own. Okay, how people can take initiative, how people can restore their own forest. Okay, right. Another asset of the people of Sant Karmari village is Mauli cot. Okay, another important forest that they have is a Mauli Kot. Okay, it's a sacred forest to Mauli Devi. Mauli Devi, maybe it may be a tribal goddesses. No, you know about her very well. Okay, these particular goddesses. Now, this 10-acre forest is inhabited by langurs, flying squirrels. Okay, so many kinds of living beings. Okay, numerous birds. Okay, it also has got medicinal plants. Some of the forests they have got the medicinal plants. Okay, so you see in the forest in our villages now you will find old people who are very good at giving the local medicines and the herbal medicines. Okay, so where do they get all these? They go into the forest, they search, they find the herbs. Okay, so forests are abounding with so much medicinal plants, herbal plants. Okay, now this particular forest Mauli Kot, it has got so much of medicinal plants. Now what happened, we can really appreciate the diversity of untouched natural forests in Mauli Kot. At the time when Damodar became the Sarpanch, Mauli Kot was also shrinking. So what happened now, in the first year of his Sarpanch, he also found that this particular sacred forest was also shrinking. Why? Why? Because people were trying to extend their agricultural land by slowly destroying the forest, by extending their borders of the agricultural land. So what happened? His efforts led to people protecting the sacred forest. Okay, now he took another. He continued to take efforts. He continued to make efforts in such a way that people themselves they came to protect their own forest, sacred forest, Mauli Kot. Okay, they stopped tilling the land close to the Mauli Kot. Okay, they stopped extending their farmland, agricultural land into the Mauli Kot. Okay, so that the forest can regenerate and expand. Okay, now today this is the largest forest in Bastar. The Mauli Kot forest is the largest forest in Bastar. Okay, so this is an example of what people can do as a community. Okay, so it's a Mauli Kot. No, right. Now we will move on to another example. We will cover Rajnandgaon in the next video. Thank you.